Pokemon White 2. This game is amazing. From all the awesome new Pokemon, to the cool new trainers and gym leaders, to the interesting environments and areas to explore, Gen 5 introduced so many cool new things. And it's my first time playing it. So, what better way to enjoy it than as a Nuzlocke? But not just any Nuzlocke, a hardcore Nuzlocke. Not just any hardcore Nuzlocke, a hardcore FryinnPan. What's all this mean, you ask? Well, allow me to explain. Let's start with Nuzlockes. They contain 3 pretty simple rules and are as follows. 1. You can only catch the first encounter on every route. 2. All fainted Pokemon are considered dead and must be released or placed in the box, never to be used again. Lastly, this one's more of a for fun rule, but all caught Pokemon must be nicknamed. Let's move on to the hardcore rule set now. Hardcore consists of 3 rules as well. First rule, no healing items can be used in battle. Now, that just means potions and whatnot. Held items and health restoring moves are fair game. Next up, set mode. In Pokemon, the game is set to shift mode, which means the game asks if you'd like to switch Pokemon after you knock an opponent's Pokemon out. Set mode does away with the option to get a free switch entirely. And lastly, for hardcore, the level cap. It's a fairly simple rule. At every point in the game, there's a boss, be it a gym leader, rival battle, etc. And that's the max level you can get your Pokemon to until you've beaten that trainer. If a Pokemon is leveled higher than the cap, then it has to sit in the box and is unusable till the trainer is beaten. Now, for the final rule set, the FryinnPan. So, this is my personal spin on the whole hardcore Nuzlocke challenge, and there are only 2 rules. 1. Catch and use only fire types. And 2. Catch and only use food type Pokemon. Now, what's a food type Pokemon, you may be asking? Well, I wanted to lean into the whole cooking and food side of my account, so we came up with the idea of food type Pokemon. They are Pokemon based on food. However, in Pokemon White 2, there aren't very many. And of the ones you can obtain, not very many are in the main game. So we get creative, and chat and I have to fully agree on what counts as a food type Pokemon. So something like Sunkern is sunflower seeds, a very common snack. And Psyduck, for example, is a roasted duck. Now, you could make the argument that any Pokemon could be food type if you just cook it well enough, and while that's true, it feels very dishonest in the theme of the challenge. Now, how do we get food type Pokemon in the first place? Do we just get very lucky, or hack them in? No, it's an easier decision. If a route contains a possible food type Pokemon, then we forego the normal Nuzlocke rules and continue to run from battles till we get our specific encounter. Now, if a route has no challenge specific encounter, then normal Nuzlocke rules just apply. Alright, enough with the rules, time for what you've all been waiting for, the Pokemon White 2 FryinnPan. Pokemon White 2 starts the same as every other Pokemon game, talking with the professor. Now, quick disclaimer, this is our 3rd attempt. However, the first 2 attempts we had quickly lost to Charon. No! So, when I say first time playing this, I mean it. However, with this 3rd attempt, we are going in way more prepared and a bit more confident, which is good. You need those 2 aspects in a hardcore Nuzlocke, but not in excess. Anyways, we choose our character after talking to the professor, then get treated to a cute little cutscene. Afterwards, our mom makes her way into the house to alert us of our new journey. We accept her quest and head out of the house in search of Bianca, Professor Juniper's assistant. We bump into our neighbor and friend with a flair for the dramatic, Hugh. Now, I enjoy Hugh, I like him, but sometimes he can be a bit too much for me. But comparing him to the other rivals, he's definitely a nice middle ground between friend and rival. After our conversation with him, we make our way to Bianca, where we're greeted with a stunning view and a very, very important choice. In accordance to the rules, we choose Tepig, being the fire-type starter. It also helps that he's a pig, nice little food-based touch. The challenge rules force us to choose him, but I actually quite enjoy this line. They honestly don't get enough love. Too much firefighting propaganda leads to the Tepig line being left in the dust. Though I do agree they should have been a different typing, something like maybe fire and ground. At this point in the video, I want to slate that, up until we beat Roxanne, I unfortunately lost the footage. So I'm using the footage from the first run and will fill in the blanks elsewhere somehow. So if what I say doesn't directly correlate with the video, that explains that. Deliberating with chat, we decide to nickname our newly acquired Tepig Crumblor. With our new best friend beside us, we head out into the wide open world, starting with Route 15, where Bianca shows us the catching tutorial for the game. skipping ahead to our first catch, we encounter a Purloin. Now, the basic Nuzlocke rules will apply here as we're unable to catch any specific challenge Pokemon, so that nets us a Purloin who will sit in the box for eternity. Sorry, Chris Chat. Now, one thing to mention is that, despite lots of catches not applying to the challenge run rules, we still decide to catch the Pokemon anyways, just in case. Alder then shows up and assaults us as we continue down the route. Just doing a basic dialogue dump before we head forward to the next route, Route 20, where we run into another challenge-specific Pokemon, Colonel Corn, otherwise known as Sunkern. This catch is based upon the common food snack sunflower seeds. Now, the Colonel won't do too much for us now, but oh boy. Just you wait for that one specific gym she's geared for. Otherwise, we're continuing onward to the next area, Flockacy Ranch. It's here where we catch one of the GOATs, the MVP, Mr. Psyduck himself, Stewie. This catch here was agreed upon by chat and I, much like all the other catches. Stewie is our stand-in for a duck roast. Now, a quick disclaimer, we kinda set a rule where you can only use one bird at a time. Otherwise, just using all the birds you want and claiming them as the same or even different meals felt kind of weird. However, if you want to give this challenge a try, please feel free to use the birds as you deem fit. But for my challenge in this video, I stuck to one bird at a time. Disclaimer over. Securing the catch, we meet up with Hugh and end up bumping into a Team Plasma member, where we see Hugh's tragic backstory on full display.
You're awfully calm about this. Your Pokemon might have been gone for good. Take better care of it.
Oh, Hugh. Hugh's so edgy. I kind of like it. It's kind of hilarious.
After that short encounter, we head back into town and run into Alder once more. We assist him in smacking some children around and then make like a pansage and leave. We beeline back to Accumula town to have our revenge on Charon. As said earlier, he's already beat us twice, but now prepared with the plan, we wipe the floor with his trainers and make our way to him. After a not so tight battle, we gain our victory, redeeming our first 2 runs and securing the first badge of the game, the basic badge. A tough early game hump has been summited, but the mountain that awaits us still looms ahead. But even so, we march forward optimistic and prepared. Running back to Route 20, a previously blocked off segment is now opened up, and we can make our way to Verbank City. This industrial city is home to the Poison Gym leader Roxanne, and to our next catch and newest member. Heading south to the Verbank complex, we encounter a wild Growlithe. Upon a successful catch, we name him Rar and continue onward. Training in the grasses where our trusty Tepig has now evolved into a powerful Pignite, and the rest of the team is ready to take on Roxanne's peculiar but perilous poison Pokemon. But first, before that, we take a detour up north to the PokeStar studios. Game Freak loved this idea apparently, so we're forced into making a movie. It's the faded Riolu kid versus the evil Bryson man. Yeah, so that sucked. But oh well, we can finally take on Roxanne's Pokemon. It was a tough fought battle, and the back and forth was insane. Oh, what am I saying? Crumbler stomped her out like it was nothing. After that battle, we earned ourselves the Toxic Badge and access to the Captain's Boat, where he could take us onward to the shining Castelia city. Thankfully, this is where my footage can return, with a much needed improvement on the background. Upon arrival, we do some shopping around before we head into the sewers. Maybe we can run into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Squirtles. Nobody? Alright. Well, who we do run into is Team Plasma, and pairing up with Hugh, we pick up one of the best items down here, Leftovers. This item is a godsend in a run like a hardcore Nuzlocke. So we slap that slop on a beefy Pokemon and let them recover each turn. Mwah! It's just beautiful. After making our way through and beating up all the grunts, we chat with Berg and then Chorus. Conversations aside, we head back topside, running to the gym and taking on Berg confidently with our powerful fire Pokemon. Now, I won't lie to you, we ripped through this. It was quite easy. Dwebble was the only slight challenge in this fight, and it was only a challenge due to the physical wall that it was. In fact, we took out Berg's other 2 Pokemon in a fraction of the time it took us to take down Dwebble. But regardless, another gym down without losing a single Pokemon. And with that victory, it nets us the Insect Badge. Heading north to continue our journey, making our way into Route 4, we find another team member. It's here where we run into Darumaka, where chat names it Childish Gambino, or just Gambino for short. If I have any advice to you if you're to try this run, it's to catch this Pokemon and keep it alive. It's a wonderful addition to the team, and with its high attack stat, can easily take fights on for you by itself. Returning back to the desert, we run into some trainers who we easily dispatch of and collect some sweet prize money before coming to a fork in the road. Unsure of which way to go, we roam to the northwest after checking the wiki and finding out there's another area up north. So that takes us to the desert resort. Now, there isn't much of value for us here, but I decide to just look around for fun. However, this was a very, very grave mistake. Our random encounter here is a Sigilyph. Now, we can't use it in the challenge, but we decide to catch it for the Nuzlocke rules anyways. Stewie sits in front for us, and after damaging the Sigilyph, gets low, so we swap him out for Rar. After throwing 5 Great Balls and failing each one, which the probability of that is 18.3%, Rar pays the unfortunate price and is our first official death of the run. A short-lived partner, but still loved all the same. An error I made was doing this battle in the first place. It offered nothing to my run, and my confidence in this battle was at a scary high level, actively playing within crit ranges and playing recklessly. It had to happen eventually, and this was the unfortunate wake-up call. We collect ourselves and continue forward, leaving the desert ruins in the past as we head for the bustling Nimbasa city. Our first course of action here is guided by the wiki, heading for a Sunstone to evolve Colonel Corn into Sunflora, a much needed boost in power that we still won't utilize yet, but nice to know a Pokemon on our team is a lot stronger. After that, we take on Ingo and Emmett of the Battle Subway, and quite honestly, this fight was dangerously close for Stewie, who has had now 2 close calls to death. We swap into Crumbler to clean up the fight and head to the Shining Roller Coaster for some easy Poké-Dollars. A quick beatdown and some fun rides later, and we leave the place a whole lot richer. Before the gym, we take a pit stop at the Ferris wheel and go on the date with the cute girl outside. This little date gets us ready for the gym battle as it jumpstarts our battle spirits, and we head to take down Elisa, the leader of Nimbasa City's gym. We don't really have a good ground type cover for this gym, as our types include the 3 primary typings in grass, fire, and water. So our plan is to have Hustle Darumaka use Dig on every living soul in this gym. Now, Hustle boosts our power by a whopping 50% at a loss of accuracy of 20%. But due to Gambino just being him, we end up not missing a single dig in the entirety of the gym battles. We hit 7 digs normally and an additional 2 digs while being paralyzed. So if we got unlucky earlier, this more than made up for Rar's unfortunate death, as the odds for this many digs happening is 7.5%. Gambino's electrifying performance manages to secure us our 4th badge, the Bulk Badge. Heading back to Nimbasa City, we team up with Hugh once more, beating up some more Plasma Grunts and receiving a rousing speech from Hugh.
5 years ago, Team Plasma stole my little sister's purloin. It had been given to her as a present. I was only a little kid. I couldn't do anything. So that's why I have to get stronger. Listen up. You fill up that Pokedex. Keep getting stronger and stronger and back me up. I'll be counting on you from here on out too. Bro, your plights are just a side plot in my world.
Before continuing onward towards Driftveil, we take a pit stop up north at the Lostlorn Forest in search for a Pansear. We spend just shy of 10 minutes looking for this Pansear, and in the process experience a spout of deja vu.
Also, what a waste of PP, bro.
What?
What? Have I entered a alternate reality? I don't know what's going on.
Finally, after losing our minds and patience, we capture our Pansear, that we name Pants. Then we continue back towards Driftveil. Now, Pokemon Black and White and Black and White 2 are some amazing games, and they introduce some cool new mechanics. However, for a hardcore Nuzlocke, 2 not-so-fun mechanics are triple battles and rotation battles. If you are unaware of what either of these are, allow me to explain. Triple battles are up first. They work similar to double battles, except you get to use 1 extra Pokemon. Pretty simple, right? Well, there's a small mechanic included in triple battles that make them vastly different from double battles. In double battles, any Pokemon can hit any Pokemon from anywhere on the field. However, in triple battles, there's 3 slots, so any Pokemon in the middle can attack and be attacked by any Pokemon, but Pokemons on the sides can only attack slots parallel to them and the middle slot. Some moves can target all spots when used in any slot, but that doesn't really come up, so no need to worry. Next is rotation battles. Kind of similar to triple battles in that there are 3 Pokemon, however, only one of those Pokemon are active and able to deal and receive damage. To use any other Pokemon, they sit on a wheel, and it rotates in either Pokemon at the press of a button from the sides to be the new active Pokemon. Anyways, the reason I bring up these mechanics is that we have a mandatory triple battle just before we get to Driftveil, where a Heartbreaker named Charles challenges us.
I'm a Heartbreaker. My name's Charles.
Now, as you might have imagined, being potentially attacked by 3 Pokemon all in one turn could be a death sentence. That's why it's super important you are extremely prepared for any battle, as even just the placement in your party could mean trouble. I try to prepare my Pokemon in the slots for the triple battle, but I made an error reading the wiki and my party's positioned awkwardly, as we're faced head-on with the only Pokemon to have killed one of my members in the run, Sigilyph. Luckily, we're able to outmaneuver Charles and his heartbreaking tendencies and take the victory with no casualties on our side. After our victory, we cross the bridge into the dragon-dancing Driftveil City and are greeted with faces of past and future, the 2 sides of Plasma. The White Knight costumed grunt representing the past Plasma members, reformed and hiding out in Driftveil, while the ninja-clad grunt represents a new sect of members, bent on the old schemes led by an older, angrier Ghetsis. We interrupt their arguing while Hugh makes an appearance and picks a fight with the ninja-looking grunt. After the dispute is solved, we continue into the city, looking around, making a plan, and picking up some items. Before we take on Driftveil's gym leader Clay, we head north to the house above the town and meet with the Plasma members who've been hanging in the city with Rude. He's a sage from the old Team Plasma that disbanded 2 years ago after the events of the first Black and White games. That's why from now on you'll be seeing 2 different looking Team Plasma members. The white-wearing, knight-looking Plasma members of old, and the sleek, black-fitting, ninja-sneaking members of new. I won't delve too much into the story, as this video is more about my journey through the hardcore frying lock, and less about the story. However, I do have the full series, excluding some streams, uploaded onto my VODs channel if you'd like to see more of the story. Otherwise, I'd say just play the games yourself. They're an amazing series of games and have some good storylines. Anyways, back to the run. We head inside the house and talk more with Rude as Hugh then interrupts and interrogates the members. Finishing up the conversations, we run to the gym, prepared to take on Clay. Driftveil's gym is filled with tough ground-type Pokemon who counter the majority of our team as it consists of mainly fire types. So that means Stewie the Psyduck will be doing the majority of the heavy lifting here. And heavy lifting he does indeed, taking out the majority of the trainers' teams, with Colonel Corn coming in to clean up when Stewie gets low. Healing up and preparing for a fight against Clay, we have Stewie evolve into a Golduck.
Let's go. Golduck. Beautiful. I fucking love Golduck.
A much needed increase in power, which takes Stewie from a problem solver to a solution maker. He doesn't care if you're bulky or fast or strong, he will kill you. It is his job, and he makes it known as he OHKOs 2 of Clay's Pokemon and then cleans up Excadrill. This victory completes the quest for the Quake Badge. Leaving the gym, we run into Hugh, and Clay comes out to show us the Pokemon World Tournament. Now, this is mostly just side content. We do have to do a mandatory 3 battles in a row, however, we win them all with no deaths pretty easily. The main thing about the Pokemon World Tournament is all the helpful NPCs. Located here, all in one place, is a move reminder, a move deleter, 2 move tutors, and 2 service counters that give very good competitive items in exchange for battle points, a currency earned via completing tournament runs. Now, I didn't want to cheat any items in that I could have got with battle points. It felt dishonest, even though some people in chat were saying any lost Pokemon in the Pokemon World Tournament wouldn't count. I just decided against it for this run. We will return to this place often later though, as it's a very good resource for remembering moves for any late game catches. Editing FryinnPan here, I realized I made the same fatal error as before, somehow losing the footage for this next part. It was most likely lost upon building and transferring data from my old computer to my new one, as I did have the footage to make a YouTube short.
Go. We know Diff Clay. We know Diff Skyla.
So we're just gonna speed through it. We get 4 Pokemon total added to the team in this next stretch. Over on Route 6, we encounter a Fungus that we're able to add to the team and name Crewmate. Fungus is a mushroom, so I don't think I gotta delve into the reasoning on that too much. However, one that I was a little surprised that got some contention was a deerling that we named Venison. Now, deer is one of the most common animals to be hunted and eaten still to this day, so that's why I thought it would be a no-brainer. Eventually everyone agreed, but we didn't end up using Venison that much anyways. Now, from here we head into Chargestone Cave, and this is where I make a bit of an error. See, this is my first Nuzlocke I've ever really done. I've done randomizers and Nuzlockes in the past, but they mostly end up falling flat in the very beginning. So this was the furthest I've ever made it. I thought encounters worked based upon areas, not the entire route, so to say. So in Chargestone Cave, it would be 1 catch for the entire cave, to my now understanding. But back then, I thought it was per floor. So that leads us to encountering 2 new members for the team, Unagi the Dynamo and Barnacle the Ferroseed. See, Unagi was meant to be challenge specific. I knew it was an eel going in, and eel's a pretty common food. However, we caught Ferroseed as a random encounter the moment we stepped into the cave, and I had the full intention of letting it sit in the box. But for some reason or another, maybe I was just really hungry, I thought it might be food-based, and upon looking at the wiki, well, what do you know? It's a durian, which is a food. So we add these 2 powerhouses to the team. Pair Barnacle with the Rocky Helmet and Unagi with the Magnet, and they are a genuine threat to any gym. But before that, we make our way to the route adjacent to the gym, Route 7. Now, there isn't much here, it's more so just a path to where the real treasure is, the Celestial Tower. In here is one thing for us, and one thing only. Litwick. Back to catching fire types, baby. Litwick is a special offensive powerhouse with 2 very strong typings in Fire and Ghost, giving us a wide move pool and a very nice centerpiece for the dinner where we're gonna hold all these food Pokemon. Heading into the gym, leading Unagi with some beefy Pokemon in the rear, we soar through this gym, taking down everything in our way until we meet Skyla. Now, due to the loss of the footage, I can't recall a battle for exact events, but I do remember that with the battle, Unagi hit Swanna for 4 times damage, just destroying that thing, cooking that bird. While Ferroseed dealt some good recoil damage to the rest of her team, and we once again made it out unscathed. Now, the battle did get a bit dicey due to Skyla's Swoobat. It's a Psychic Flying type Pokemon, which counters the majority of our team, especially our starter, and using the strong Psychic Physical type attack, Heart Stamp, got us pretty low on some Pokemon. The main threat was Acrobatics. Now, I haven't mentioned Acrobatics very much throughout the game. It's a simple flying type move, base 55 power, not a big deal, right? Wrong. Anyone who knows this move knows what I'm talking about when this move has a terrifying secondary effect. That effect is that if this Pokemon has no held item, its power is doubled. That means it goes from 550 power to a whopping 110 base power. Why do I bring this up and make such a big deal of it? Because every single Pokemon that can learn Acrobatics in this game seems to have it in every battle. And none of these Pokemon have held items. That means random trainers on routes are whipping out moves with 110 base power way too early in the game. So if you decide to do this run, just a heads up for Acrobatics. Anyways, rant aside, we jet out of the gym with the jet badge in hand and join Juniper on Skyla's jet as she flies us out to Lentimus Town. We don't dawdle too much in the town as we run to the neighboring route and straight into a strange, spooky house. Now, I was mostly here for fun, and the Dusk Stone for Lampent to use to evolve, but we did get a few nice items added to the list, including the TM for Shadow Ball. Spooky encounters behind us, we leave the strange house and head into Reversal Mountain, where Bianca joins us for plot-relevant reasons. She needs to do some research on the Heatran that lives there. Finally, this is where our footage can come back. Apologies once more. We plan our route through the mountain, carefully picking up items as we go and limiting our trainer battles. We do have a mandatory double battle, but it goes pretty smoothly, and we continue through the mountain to a peaceful Undella town. I just want to take this peaceful moment to tell you that even though life may seem impossible and the challenges you face continue to wear you down, that these things are only momentary, and there's so much more to life than this moment of hardship. You have so much strength inside you to do whatever it is you need to do, and I wish you the best. Continuing onward, we face Hugh in a battle once more and sweep through his team. He's still using a small amount of Pokemon that are all weak to members of our team, so as long as we navigate the battle well, it proves no real challenge. After that fight, Hugh yaps for a bit, and we continue north to Route 13. No challenge Pokemon here either, so we mostly just run around collecting items and avoiding trainer fights. Until this happens. Now, this was an accident, and it is a costly one. I tried to avoid all triple and rotation battles possible, but I got caught last moment and dragged into this one. Now, we try to maneuver our way through this battle, but this AI actually came to play, and unfortunately, we lose Gambino. One of the fan favorites of the run so far, and we lose him in some random rotation battle all for nothing. I will say, this battle was completely my fault, as I put way too much confidence in the Pokemon and should have been smarter when navigating the battle. Continuing onward, we make our way to Lacanosa Town and get more story exposition before we team up with Hugh to fight Team Plasma once more, this time fighting against a grunt and a sage named Zinzolin in a double battle. Before this battle, we leveled up and evolved a Numel we caught in Reversal Mountain that we named Nummelround. Hugh claps back at Zinzolin and we jump right into the fight. An easy victory later, we get more exposition before Team Plasma runs off with Hugh hot on their tail. We heal up and follow suit, heading to Route 12, looking for another challenge Pokemon in Combee. Now, Combee isn't an amazing Pokemon, but I love it so much. I'm a huge fan of all bee kinds of monsters in games, such as Combee in Pokemon or the Fan Beamon line in Digimon. Combee fits in nicely with the food theme as well, as bees are huge producers of honey in real life. But while looking for an encounter, we run into another new mechanic of Gen 5, dark grass patches. Now, dark grass patches are similar to normal ones, but there are two main differences. One, the level of Pokemon you can counter are much higher, and two, you can get double battles at random, which is exactly what happens here. A random, high-level double battle. And these Pokemon are a bad combo to run to. Unpheasant is fast and makes us unable to flee the battle, and Roselia is using the 120 base power move Petal Dance to chunk even the beefiest fire types on our team. We finally get lucky enough to flee and realize the mistake we made, never going in a dark grass patch again. Looking a little more, we finally run into Combee and get very lucky, as we needed it to be female to be able to evolve into Vespiquen. Honeybottom joins the team and we continue towards the village bridge, encountering probably one of the strongest NPC trainers in the game, Gentleman Stonewall. Now, I don't think he's the strongest because the fight wasn't hard, but the fact he had a 2-year-long win streak totaling 999 wins is impressive enough. Crossing the bridge, we head underneath to complete a mini quest to secure some citrus berries, and then head over to Route 11 where we avoid all the trainer battles and encounters and make our way finally to Opelucid City. Now, I had been dreading this fight for a while. The gym leader in this city uses Dragon-type Pokemon, and Dragon-type Pokemon resist the primary typings in Fire, Water, Grass, and Electric, which, if you don't remember, is our entire team. We spend the first hour and a half of this stream just planning and slowly making our way through the gym, making sure we have what we need. Now, this fight could have been easier had I prepared earlier. Getting an Ice-type move on one of my Pokemon, even a weak one, would have been a huge benefit. Unfortunately, this being my first Nuzlocke, I hadn't planned that far ahead, and we had to make do with what we had. We make it through the gym and end up right in front of Drayden. Starting the battle, we lead with the beefy Numelrupt, using Yawn on the Dredagon after taking a crunch that leaves us just above half HP. On the next turn, Numelrupt takes another crunch, leaving us with 5 HP, and we lay out an Earth Power as Dredagon then falls asleep. With Dredagon asleep, we lay out yet another Earth Power, hitting the 20% special defense drop. Very nice. While Drayden heals. On the next turn, I think we win the speed tie we've been losing this entire time and take out Dredagon for good with one more Earth Power. Drayden then sends in Flygon, and we consider sacking Numelrupt or hard switching and taking an attack to the face. We decide to keep the team alive as we still have not lost a Pokemon in a gym battle yet, and send in Barnacle, which Flygon immediately swaps out with Dragon Tail. Not before taking recoil damage from Iron Barbs though. The lamp comes out and we swap him back into Barnacle as we get hit with an Earth Power. We lock in Power Whip and get hit with another Earth Power. However, Power Whip connects and deals a ton of damage to Flygon. One more Earth Power comes out and we land a Gyro Ball for the KO. One Pokemon left. Predicting the Dragon Dance, we set up an Iron Defense. All the while, Barnacle has been using leftovers to heal. We hit a huge Gyro Ball on Haxorus and he hits us with a Dragon Tail, taking recoil damage and dragging Stewie out. We lock in Surf and get hit with a Slash for our troubles. Surf connects, doing tons of damage. Haxorus is weak. One move can do it. Aqua Jet with priority and Stab comes out and it doesn't kill. And Stewie gets hit with Slash. This one was really sad. I was super optimistic near the end as I had been dreading this for weeks in real life, so getting so close and then receiving a death just hurts even more. We send in Crumblor and he cleans it up with a return. Drayden commends us with a job well done and leaves us with the legend badge. We put Stewie in the box and I continue to yap about his death, and truth is, it's entirely my fault, as are many if not all the deaths in this game. But this one especially. As I mentioned the Mystic Water, an item I could have gotten early on in the run that would have saved our ass, as Surf and Aqua Jet would have done enough damage to get the KO. Drayden then gives us some story exposition in his living room, I guess? I'm not sure. Then a rumbling outside gets us to leave Drayden's house. Team Plasma's flying through the sky on their ship and just starts blasting and freezing the land with the power of the legendary Dragon Kyurem. And I'm just a little bit entertained.
That's kind of fucking sweet.
We go around town finding and fighting a multitude of grunts before taking on Zinzolin once more. Once we scare them off, Drayden speed runs, giving us the plot-specific key item. I'll be right back.
That's okay. I was just gonna say that was damn quick.
And upon the gift, the Shadow Triad just shows up and steals it. The Shadow Triad is Team Plasma's stronger trainers, but we whoop them all the same. Upon beating every member, we start to make a plan to strengthen our team, talking with chat to fly and grab a ducklet for the team from the Driftveil drawbridge. This ducklet will replace the roasted bird spot that Stewie was taking on the team. Ducklet is caught and named Donald Duck, who we then take time to level up and get geared. We then make our way through the marine tube, which takes us to Accumula City. We do some roaming around and then embark on a quest to find Marlin, the gym leader. And there he is. Oh god, he's white. Look at his feet. Get him to go back to the gym. And honestly, I'm going into this gym feeling super good. We've amassed quite a few grass types through the playthrough, so this gym doesn't feel like such a big wall compared to Drayden's dragon types. We take some more time leveling up and preparing our team for the oncoming fight. And honestly, we float through this gym pretty easily, vibing to the awesome music and taking down any trainers in our way to fight Marlin. Our plan is to have Colonel Corn finally claim her title as the world's strongest, setting up Sunny Day and sweeping with Solar Beam and Giga Drain, outspeeding everyone with her passive Chlorophyll. And it works as perfectly as we expected. This was one of my favorite fights as everything went perfect, including scoring a perfect crit Giga Drain on his Wailord to fill us back to full health, which leaves us against his ace, Jellicent. We set up Sunny Day once more, and then recover with Giga Drain on the next turn, and to finish it off, we charge up a huge Solar Beam to decimate his Jellicent. And with that fight, one of the main tasks in taking on all 8 gyms is complete, allowing to progress, feeling good about the rest of the run. And with that fight, one of the main tasks in taking on all 8 gyms is complete. We get the wave badge from Marlin. With this battle won, it allows us to progress, feeling good about the rest of the run. But oh boy, what awaited me was a whole different beast. First, we prepare flying around via Donald Duck, getting some items like the Expert Belt, Mystic Water, relearning moves, and just generally getting prepared for what the late game has in store. We then make our way back to Accumula City and up to Route 22. Saying what's up to the pal Terrakion as Colress appears. Colress yaps, and we run away from the two as we head into the giant chasm and pick up the ice cream cone Pokemon Vanillish. These guys are just straight up goofy, and finding an appropriate move pool for them took a while. But nonetheless, this was one of the Pokemon that actually inspired the run, and I'm glad to have it added to the team. With Van Winkle, Vanilla Ice's real last name, added to the team, the diversity for types is increased a ton, and we feel even more confident heading into the late game. We then head to the Seaside Cavern, where we take on Black Belt Rocky and his army of Roggenrola. This small annoying fight aside, we continue in the Seaside Cave, moving a Crustle out of the way to get to the beach where Team Plasma's ship is docked. We do some exposition, then get aboard the ship to start the fights against all the Team Plasma members. Going through a multitude of single fights and double battles with Hugh, we solve the code that Team Plasma has set up in the ship to progress once again, running into Zinzolin. Another double battle against Zinzolin in a grunt starts and ends just as quickly, as we then again get expositions and monologues about the evil guys doing the right thing. We get a cool little cutscene of the Plasma Frigate launching to the sky, leaving Hugh and I stranded on the beach, to Chat and I's astonishment.
Oh, they really kicked you up. Yeah. And we were in the basement first floor, so they like grabbed our asses and just... Ugh. Why didn't they do that in the first place? I don't know, man. Make it interesting, I guess.
We talk with Charon about going to the giant chasm to stop Team Plasma and cure him, and that's where we run back to. Upon arrival, we get ready for another double battle. However, the one Team Plasma grunt from Driftveil comes up undercover and relieves the grunts blocking the way, allowing us to progress. We get to the Crater Forest and are met with Hugh, Rude, and a ton of Team Plasma grunts, both current and ex-members. We get through some fights and head deeper into Crater Forest, boarding the Plasma Frigate once again, but exploring the opposite side of the ship, going down into the basement. Thrust into a double battle immediately, we get into a bit of a rough spot where we unfortunately lose Donald Duck. I was assuming we would have some time to heal and make some changes to the team, so again, this death is completely on me and being unprepared. Cleaning up the fight, we continue onward, down a party member, and playing extra cautious as we try to solve a puzzle. We spent quite a while on this puzzle, getting into a couple battles here and there, but then solving it and moving on to the main control room. On the way, we are once again stopped by Zinzolin. Oh, he may not be the best trainer, but damn is he persistent. That much is true. With his defeat, it clears the way, allowing us to have a good look at Kirim and a safe passage to fight Colress, a trainer we've ran into a couple times, with the goal of bringing out the true potential of a Pokemon by any means necessary. We start the battle, and I gotta say, first things first, I think this is one of my favorite battle themes in the game, maybe the series. But aside from that, this is a tough fight as well. He has very bulky steel and electric type Pokemon that are just very powerful in general. This fight was one of my major slip-ups. I made a bunch of small mistakes in this fight, mainly not going in with a full party and some silly switch-ins. Halfway through the fight, Colress's Clank sends out multiple shift gears, and in a poor spot where we either switch in or hope Barnacle doesn't get para-hacked and hit some moves, we take the latter, allowing him to get off 3 shift gears, a death sentence to any team, and we only land 1 Power Whip. However, Barnacle has Iron Barbs and Rocky Helmet, and Clank's signature move, Gear Grind, makes contact. Gear Grind is a multi-hitting physical contact move, so what that means is with each Gear Grind, Clang will take up to a fourth of its HP as recoil damage. So, as long as we take these Gear Grinds, which we do thanks to a earlier setup Iron Defense, we can sit back and allow him to knock himself out. We unfortunately miss a Power Whip this turn that would have taken the KO, but no worries, as our strategy of tanking these Gear Grinds is going well. We get hit, and another easy... Wait, Barnacle died? Oh god. Now, I had thought about a possible crit, but it was too late as I already locked in the move. Luckily, we do get the KO with recoil damage, but another sad loss for seemingly no reason. Then, while I was distraught, I sent in Crumblor against his Beheim. A terrible mistake, as Crumblor's fire fighting and Beheim's psychic. We're forced to swap and send out the Lamp. However, we damage Kelkit, and the Lamp can live and then OHKO his Beheim. But I made a fatal mistake while damage calcing. I forgot to set the level in the damage calc to the level of our Chandelier. So, the level in the damage calc actually read our Chandelier as a max level 100. It unfortunately gets OHKO'd on the switch-in, and I panic send out Crumblor again. I do what I should have done from the start, sending in Unagi to deliver a powerful Crunch, but it's a hard switch and he takes a Psychic to the face. We lock in Crunch and Outspeed, almost one-shotting, while Unagi tanks another Psychic, living on 4 HP. Unagi then delivers another Crunch to knock out the Beheim. Colress is down to his last Pokemon, a full health Magneton. We send in Van Winkle to manipulate the AI so it uses a Steel-type move, so we have a safe switch-in to Crumblor who resists it. We lock in Flamethrower and almost one-shot. However, Magneton has the incredibly annoying ability Sturdy, allowing it to live on 1 HP. We spend a couple minutes damage calcing, with the proper levels this time, and realize that this Magneton has an 87.5% chance to kill with Volt Switch. But chat tells me it's simple. You just go,
Nah, I'd win. Oh, you're so right. Just the nah, I'd win mentality, right? Nah, I'd win. This doesn't even kill, baby. Not even close. It's just kind of that easy, gentlemen. Next time, try killing. Next time, try getting the 87.5 whatever percent chance to kill on the damage calc.
We finally meet with Ghetsis, and he has us fight his Shadow Triad members. An easy sweep against all 3 allows us to continue further into the chasm to meet with Ghetsis. High on the wind, thinking that we'll have a moment before the fight, I initiate the dialogue. Unfortunately, as we'll see later, the game throws you straight into a fight with Ghetsis. And I should have known, since Ghetsis is straight business, he does not give a shit who you are, how old you are, you're gonna get in the way, he will murk you. We get a beautiful cutscene of the 2 dragons fighting before they get fused together, and now we must take down Kirim White Mode. We easily win, because obviously a pig elbowing the dragon god of ice and fire would mean the pig wins, and the game throws us right into the Ghetsis fight, as mentioned earlier. With 3 Pokemon, one of them half health, this fight was mine to lose. I was underprepared and overconfident, the opposite of the 2 attributes you need for this challenge. Gethis easily swept the remaining 3 members of my team, and we blacked out. Now, in most hardcore Nuzlockes, this is a game over, but chat and I decided to continue onward with the other challenge-specific Pokemon, so we slapped together a new party, leveling them up and returning to avenge the members we had just lost.
Numblerupt 55 with Lava Plume, Earth Power, Yawn, and Rock Slide. We have Honeybottom with Attack Order, Air Slash, Bug Bite, Bug Buzz. We have Colonel Corn, Giga Drain, Sunny Day, Leech Seed, Solar Beam. Venison, Horn Leech, Double Edge, Energy Ball, Nature Power. Pants, Acrobatic, Yawn, Crunch, Flame Bursts, holding the Citrus Berry with Gluttony. It's kind of nice combo. Crewmate with Giga Drain, Synthesis, Clear Smog, and Toxic.
We lead Pants the Panseer and throw out a Crunch, half-healthing the Cophagrigus. He hits back with an equally strong Shadow Ball. Another Crunch puts Cophagrigus in the red as he hits us with Toxic. Ghetsis then begins to stall out our Panseer, but we hit a very nice defense drop on the Crunch. We hit one more Crunch and secure the kill, and Ghetsis sends in Seismitoad. Swapping in Venison to predict the Ground-type move, he hits us with a Sludge Wave, dealing tons of damage before Venison can clean it up with Horn Leech. Next in is Electros, which we decided to counterswap with Numblerupt. It hits a Flamethrower, which doesn't do a ton of damage. Next turn he uses Crunch, which deals about half of our current HP, and we counter with Lava Plume. I think because of our heal with leftovers, we're out of kill range for Crunch, unless he crits of course. However, he uses Acrobatics, and with no item, gets the kill on Numblerupt. We send in Venison for a stab Double Edge to clean up Electros, and it lives with 1 HP. The Electros counters with an Acrobatics, killing Venison, but makes contact with Rocky Helmet in the process, so both Pokemon went down this turn. Next is Drapion vs Honeybottom. My typing knowledge is a bit off, however, as I know Dark is weak to Bug, but I forgot Poison resists Bug, therefore Bug becomes neutral. Vespiquen still deals some good damage on the next turn, however, with Bug Buzz. But not before Drapion chunks us with another Night Slash. Now in a danger zone, Drapion does have potential to kill with Night Slash crit. However, we get lucky and receive no crit and kill with another Bug Buzz. Now, Ghetsis sends out his ace, Hydreigon, which is weak to Vespiquen, but being very low on HP has us worried. We need to outspeed, which we unfortunately don't. So far this battle has been a slaughter. With 2 Pokemon left, we begin to plan to stall with crewmate the Amoonguss. We Toxic the Hydreigon and switch into Sack Pants to allow for more Life Orb and Toxic damage. Now, I come up with the ingenious plan, so we swap into Colonel Corn and watch the plan work. With Hydreigon seated, taking Toxic damage and Life Orb when a move connects, we're feeling good. His next Dragon Rush hits, but being the goat that Colonel Corn is, she lives and sets up a Sunny Day, killing the Hydreigon with Leech Seed and Toxic. Toxicroak comes out and is Ghetsis' last Pokemon. Now, I was so tunnel visioned on him clicking the super effective Poison Jab that I was surprised when he clicks Sucker Punch, which, if you didn't know, has priority if we use an attacking move. So, we get caught and die first turn. It all comes down to this, last Pokemon versus last Pokemon. And thus, the great stalling of 2024 began. I don't have too much to say, this was just a smart way to maneuver this last Pokemon.
And we ended up coming out on top just barely. The main thing we were hoping for is an Effect Spore proc, as it would give us some extra turns. However, we don't see that until the last turn, where we get the Paralysis and then secure the kill. After the fight, N and Ghetsis have a heart-to-heart. More like a heart-to-fart, I'd say.
Shut your mouth! Shut up, shut up, shut up! Don't talk like a person, you freak! No real person could talk to Pokemon.
As Ghetsis still doesn't give a crap about his son. We head back to Humalau with the only survivor on our team, Crewmate. At this point, Crewmate is our last challenge-specific Pokemon, so we've double failed the challenge, both via 2 whiteouts in battle and losing all but 1 challenge-specific Pokemon. At this point, I talked with chat and we decided being so close to the endgame, we just throw together a team of the Pokemon that we acquired through our travels. With the team put together, we head towards Victory Road, and by God was it a slogfest. With bad decisions and unlucky battles, one after another, we end with a climactic battle against Hugh, where the sole survivor is once again Crewmate the Amoonguss. We once again decide to continue onward, having to go through old routes and catch some Pokemon we missed. And I just want to say, this video has taken me forever. I'm a one-man team with a full-time job, trying to keep up with 3 streams a week and posting short-form content often. So this video has been a big endeavor. If you've made it this far and you're enjoying, please consider subscribing. I love doing this, and I would love to grow my channel to be able to do more of this in the future. Our final battle of the run was with Chantel, and it was simply one of underestimation. I was far too confident in my abilities, and I underestimated the old Pokemon game Elite Fours. This whole fight was nothing but my fault, making mistakes and bad decision making.
but this was one of the most fun challenges I've done, with both the Nuzlocke hardcore run itself and making this video. Sometime in the future, I do plan to return to the White 2 Fryinnlock and come out victorious, but for now, I'll leave you with our big loss and the idea that not every failure is the end. Continue, push forward, and do your best. You never know where it'll take you. Thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of the day.